Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus' story is going in an interesting direction, so we'll see what's coming up there. We'll also check out the latest for Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and more. Let's start things off with everything new for Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. It was reported since WrestleMania season that Trish versus Becky will be a highly featured feud that will last throughout the summer, and all signs seem to be backing up that report. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus first met at Night of Champions, but Zoey Stark would make a surprise interference in that matchup to assist Trish Stratus in the win and officially reveal her allegiance with Trish to the public. And of course, this new addition of Zoey Stark to the story only makes things more challenging for the babyface character here of Becky Lynch. Not only does Becky Lynch have to go against a heel legend, she now has to up against a young superstar that just arrived to the main roster and will do anything to protect Trish Stratus and prove herself. Becky can no longer just go straight after Trish Stratus. She'll have to now break through that layer of extra added protection that is Zoey Stark. So it really would be an uphill battle for Becky Lynch since Trish and Zoey have that numbers advantage over her head. But the feud will be continuing at Money in the Bank, but in a much different way than a traditional rematch. It looks like the story and feud will be using the women's Money in the Bank ladder match itself to push Becky and Trish's narrative forward. Becky Lynch and Zoey Stark have both qualified for the women's Money in the Bank match, likely meaning that there will be a big spot in this match between Becky, Zoey, and possibly Trish Stratus. Becky Lynch hinted at a future confrontation with Zoey Stark and just how much winning the Money in the Bank contract would mean to her during a recent interview with WWE Raw Exclusive. Becky had this to say, quote, "I missed the last premium live event that we did in the UK, so this will be my first premium live event in the UK that holds a lot of history for me. I remember when I was 15 years old and taking a plane over to London and staying there with my uncle before I went off on a one-week wrestling summer camp. I remember taking the train and imagining what life would be like as a WWE superstar, and never really imagining that I could have gotten to where I've already gotten in my career. But there is one last thing that you said, and that's winning the Money in the Bank contract. Every ladder match that I've been in, I've been the last person on that ladder, holding the briefcase. It has always been in my fingertips, but it's always slipped away from me. So that's haunted me. It's the one thing that I have left to do. It's the one thing that I can do to feel like my career has been complete. The icing on the cake there is that if Zoey Stark gets into this match, then I get to beat her up with ladders. And it's sanctioned, and nobody can stop me, and nobody can arrest me. I said I was going to ruin her life, and I'm going to ruin her life." End quote. So Becky's words there are all very important, adds a lot of stakes to this match, and hints at progressing the feud with Trish and Zoey. Becky is fully focused on winning the Money in the Bank contract. Like Becky said, she missed the first big UK premium live event that happened a while back, so this will be her first premium live event appearance that takes place in the UK, and what better way to top it all off than by winning the Money in the Bank contract? Like Becky also pointed out, it's the only thing in her Hall of Fame career that she hasn't accomplished yet, so securing that contract really will be the icing on the cake for her career in WWE. A lot of fans think that Becky Lynch has a good shot to actually win the Money in the Bank contract, but at the same time, fans think it's going to be nearly impossible for Becky to pull off the big win with Trish and Zoey lurking in the background the entire time. Even if Trish is able to handle Zoey Stark and take her out in time to go secure the contract, Trish Stratus may suddenly appear to make sure that Becky doesn't get her hands on that contract no matter what and cost her that match. And that may be the way the feud progresses through the Money in the Bank match, and it deepens the story even more. Trish betrayed Becky's trust after WrestleMania, costed Becky the tag team championships, cheated at Night of Champions, and costed her the Money in the Bank contract. So everything that Trish has done to Becky Lynch over the last few months will really set the stage for their real rematch that can possibly take place at Summerslam. So could Becky Lynch still win the Money in the Bank? Sure, there's always a possibility, but it looks like it'll just add more depth to her story with Trish Stratus if Trish is the one that ends up costing Becky Lynch the Money in the Bank contract at the last second to build up for SummerSlam. And if Becky and Trish truly do meet at SummerSlam, you'll be talking about them having nearly 6 months of build-up at that time, so it should be a massive match and quite possibly the finale for their feud. So be on the lookout for Trish Stratus getting involved at Money in the Bank and that big potential SummerSlam rematch for Becky and Trish. Speaking of big Summerslam rematches, that brings us to the latest for Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. Brock and Cody's feud with each other started back in April, immediately after WrestleMania. There was a lot of storyline-related questions with the feud at the start. There was no real storyline purpose given for Brock to attack Cody in the first place. But as the feud went on, their story started developing. Cody Rhodes pulled off the win over Brock Lesnar at Backlash after slamming Brock's head into the turnbuckle, busting him open, and securing the victory shortly after that. And having his head busted open like that gave Brock Lesnar even more reason to come back and inflict pain on Cody Rhodes. And that's exactly what he did. Brock would return to Raw to attack Cody Rhodes several times within one night and even ended up breaking Cody's arm as well within the storyline. But the story was that Cody Rhodes was brave, tough, and wouldn't back down from anything. Triple H advised Cody Rhodes to drop out of the match, but Cody still insisted in competing against Brock Lesnar with a broken arm. So that led to Night of Champions. Cody Rhodes didn't tap out but faded away in that match, giving the technical win to Brock Lesnar, but still protecting Cody in the process. So with the series being tied up at one win apiece, with both victories having big asterisks next to them with the busted open turnbuckle and broken arm, everyone expects a third match to take place to settle this feud once and for all. Reports claim that Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes 3 will take place at SummerSlam and will allegedly include a special match stipulation that hasn't been seen in a long time, but there's no word on what that stipulation could possibly be. Brock Lesnar is also currently scheduled to appear on multiple episodes of Raw throughout July, furthermore appearing to confirm that his third match with Cody Rhodes will be taking place at SummerSlam. So be on the lookout for Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes 3, taking place with a special stipulation in just a few months. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.